hard to explain exactly how hard of a hold that it has on you. It takes over every aspect of your life.
David Parnell shot himself in the face with a rifle while strung out on meth. He suffered from extreme paranoia brought on by the drug.
At nighttime, I would get paranoid and think that police was outside my house going to raid it, or other dope dealers, and I'd be out in my backyard 2 o'clock in the morning shooting in the bushes trying to kill them. Because to me, I felt completely threatened, even though there was no real threat, but to me it was real, and I felt threatened for my life. And so I'm running around my yard in the middle of the night shooting old cars that I had. I shot all the pieces, my barns, the bushes, and if I had been somebody there, I would have killed them. I mean, my full intentions was to kill them because I felt like my life was in danger.
For David's family, they felt as if they were living with a monster. His wife and children were terrified of him.
My kids was neglected real bad. I didn't physically abuse my kids, but I didn't have to because they were so scared of me. If I stomped the floor, they all ran. And one of my little girls, Rebecca, was so terrified of me that she would, when her mama left the room, she would take off screaming if it was just me and her and follow her mama out of the room. She was just so afraid of being around me. And of course, I couldn't see what I was doing at the time. But I seen times when my refrigerator didn't have no milk or no food, and I would take the last $20 or $50 in my wallet and go buy me a bag of dope instead of buying it to them.
The more David used meth, the more his suicidal thoughts increased. He was like a time bomb ticking, ready to go off at any moment.
I got to where I was staying up for 8-9 days at a time. The suicide got real bad. And Christmas Day of 2002, I sat in a church parking lot for 2 hours with this SKS, wanting to try to build the courage to shoot myself. My wife had, I knew she was fed up with it. She told me if I used meth again, she was leaving me, taking the kids. And I knew she would this time, wouldn't be coming back.
When David's wife lay next to him on their bed and told him she was leaving, David grabbed his rifle, placed it under his chin, and pulled the trigger.
The bullet entered me under my chin and exited between my eyes. And being on the meth, you know, it broke every bone in my face except my left eye socket, but it did knock me unconscious. I remember hearing the sound of the blast. I remember the feeling of my face blowing off. And it also, when it went off where my wife had raised up, if she hadn't of it probably would have killed her because it went through my face and through the wall right where she was laying. And it stuck bone and teeth into her arm that she had to dig out later. Throw chunks of meat and one of my big teeth was stuck in her hair. Just covered her all over, covered the whole room.
When David woke up in a hospital bed, his wife told him she was pregnant with their 7th child. He knew then his life would never be the same.
When she told me she was pregnant with this new baby, I knew then I was going to live. I mean, and I knew then that I was changed. I knew I'd never be back to the way that I used to be. I knew my drug addiction was over, and what really give me a feeling of really give me a drive is knowing that this baby was never going to have to live through that abusive household that everybody else lived through, and with the addicted addict daddy, that his life was going to be so much different beginning than the rest of them.
David ended his addiction to meth without receiving any form of treatment or counseling. The impact of his near-fatal shooting and being confined to a bed for 7 weeks was enough for him to get clean and turn his life around.